I am here with Andy Runton, and who is doing a sketch for me as Ali reading a book, which makes me very happy. Are you ready for my 5 fabulous questions?
Absolutely, lay it on me.
Question number 1 is, how did you get started working in comics?
How did I get started working in comics? Well, I was a graphic designer, web designer, interface designer, and I was working for this company and didn't really fit in, but it was going okay. And then after the .com kind of bubble kind of burst after 9/11, we got downsized, and so I always thought that I would love a creative job, and that was a creative job, but I found that I didn't have anything left after I came home, and so I really wanted to do comics, and I wanted to do that kind of stuff, but I never had the energy while I was working there. And I just said, you know what? There was a glut of designers on the market after that time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I want to just try it. So I was trying some comics. They weren't quite working. I was trying to do cool stuff, whatever. It just wasn't feeling right. I decided to take this little character I had been drawing for my mom on these little notes, because she called me a little night owl. And I just made a little story with him, and it felt really good, because it was just me being just being naturally just what I wanted, you know. And I showed it to a publisher just to get feedback. That was Top Shelf, because I love their books.
Sure.
And they said they really liked it. I should do more of them. So I did more. And after a while, I had enough to make a book, and they published it. So
there you go.
That's how it
was just that easy.
Yeah, it sounds easy. It was a multi-year process,
sure.
But you know.
The second question is, did you read comics when you were a kid, and if so, who influenced you?
I read a lot of comics as a kid. One of the biggest influences I had was just growing up. My mom taught me how to read by reading me the Sunday comics.
Perfect.
You know, and I loved that, and you know, loved Snoopy and Woodstock. I loved, Calvin and Hobbes didn't start till later, when I was around the time I was in high school. But I love Calvin and Hobbes, and that was a huge influence to me, and you can see that in the way I draw trees and everything like that. So.
Very good. Third question is, what are you currently working on?
What am I currently working on? I'm currently working on the second book in a kid's book from Simon & Schuster. It's about it's about Ali and Wormy. They're trying to see the stars, but they can't quite see them, because Wormy won't let go of the little lights that he keeps. He's afraid of the dark, and they hear these scary noises, and some bats may or may not be involved, but it's a great little kid story. That's the second book from Simon & Schuster I'm working on, and I'm also working on the next graphic novel for Top Shelf, and that's about a little fishy.
Oh,
so
cute.
It's called A Fishy Situation. So
nice.
It's Ali, Volume 6.
Very good. The next question is, what graphic novel or comics titles have you read in the past year that you would recommend for kids or for teens?
Let's see, for kids or for teens. It's a very good question. Let's see. Let me try to think of the ones that I love the most. Wow, that is really tough. It's funny. I've actually read the stuff that I'm not trying to be like staying with my publisher here, but all the titles from Top Shelf. I read some of the stuff by Jess Smiley, and then we've got here the Penguin. Penguin versus Chicken, there's all these cool, but Corgi's my favorite one. Corgi 3 is getting ready to come out.
Oh, I didn't know
and that's
that.
the one that I'm really excited about.
Oh, that's great news. Yeah, I like the Corgi series a lot too.
Love the Corgi series. Christian's been working on a lot of other stuff, so it'll be great to see that come out. So that's the one I'm most excited about coming out. But that nobody else has seen that yet, but it's coming out soon.
Fair enough.
That's probably a good promo.
That's a great one. And the last question, and this is the librarian one, is if you were stranded on a desert island, but you're going to be rescued.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a how-to book or anything.
Okay.
What one book would you bring with you? It doesn't have to be a comic. It can be any book at all.
Wow.
This is usually the ringer.
Tough one. I honestly think that if I knew I was going to be rescued, then I'd have to treat it as almost like a little retreat. And I've started doing watercolor paintings and stuff like that, and so I think that's what I'd like, is some book. I'd have to do my research, but I'd have to find like the perfect either example book of like like especially the guys that do the Pixar books, you know,
Yeah.
I mean the art of any of the Pixar movies you'll see, they use a lot of pastels and things like that. I just something like that for inspiration, but I'd be on an island, so I'd be surrounded by nature, so I'd have nature there. I'd have some other kind of technique stuff, but I'd also have to have art supplies of some kind.
True.
So I don't know if that qualifies, but that's the kind of thing I'd like to do, is take that time to really just experiment with different things, you know, and come back from it differently. So
That sounds great.
yeah,
Thank you, Andy, so much. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.